Good. So if again, similar to Word and PowerPoint, I think now we are very familiar with the Backstage view now. So once we open it, it takes us to the Backstage view. And from the Backstage view, we get to see some interesting things, right? We get to see how to create a new file using this, and we can select from several templates that we can make use of, or we can go to the recents, and again, we can pin to the top or move things around if we want. If I don't want this showing in my recent files, I can of course hover over it. Instead of pinning, then I'll just click remove from recents to get rid of it. Again, I can see what has been shared with me, interesting stuff that's been shared with me. I don't even remember when, somewhere in February, you can see them. And of course, you can open existing files from your drive. So I want to come back in here. I want to have a look at more templates. And it's quite interesting that some tools such as money management, if you want to manage your money, which probably I also need to look into as well, cost manager, annual financial reports, channel marketing, invoice. So what you get a sense of at this point is that we can use Excel to do a lot of things that involve numbers or dates or even some letters or sorting out lists or generating graphs or doing some form of analysis with data and other things. And of course, you can use it to create various tables and some fancy charts and other things as well. So give you a sense of how things actually work. And if you are completely new to Excel, I will recommend that you take the tour, which will walk you through things practically as well. But for now, you just want to pick one of these and have a loop or play around it. Let me see what manage my money gives me. So let's open that one. It's disappeared, but I'll pull it back up. So we've got it on there. And it's quite interesting. You notice that you've got some graphs, some text, some numbers, and some form of calculations going on. We can just navigate around a little bit. Sorry, I pressed something. I'll just press the escape on my keyboard to get rid of that. Let me zoom in a little bit so at least we know what is going on. And we can sometimes see that maybe this graph is automatically generated based on something. So we've got what, series point one, series point two. Let's just navigate it around and see. So total monthly income, probably double clicking there, is based on the sources of income. So we've got the first source of income. So probably this person has more than one job and how much they get per month. So if we go in there and look at the total, we notice that the total is actually doing an addition. It's doing a sum of these two income sources. Oh, three income sources. I forgot about the other as well. Then we've got the how much they save per month. So let's see in terms of savings. So that is coming from the monthly savings column. So it's got some dates, but there's no content in there. Maybe it's for us to fill in. It's a template for you to complete anyway. And you've got like an amount maybe that you save on those particular dates. So that becomes your total monthly savings. Expenses. So that would be pulled up from things like how much you're paying for rent per month, this, that. So it's quite an interesting template that we make use of. Let's start by maybe making some adjustments or amendments to this. So we've got some balance there. Probably balance is just what? The total monthly income minus total monthly expenses and minus savings. And anyway, that's how much you've got in your account. So I'm going to try and save this. Maybe I'll save it onto my desktop. A lot of things going on in there, but let me just create a new and then maybe call it Excel. Can somebody tell me the password for saving? Password, the shortcut for saving. Keyboard shortcut.
Control S.
Control X. How about save as? How about save as, which I just did? Can somebody tell me the keyboard shortcut for save as?
I don't have an idea.
Let me just go to everyone. I'm going to pause here. Start with this template. Have a little bit of play around. I'm just going to say maybe, I don't know, income from the best job in the world. Another income from my own, I don't know, whatever. I'm just writing some things, but you can put some real life things there. Family, and you can adjust these. Interesting thing is if we adjust this to maybe 3,000, first of all, you notice that I put 3,000, but it's automatically changed to money for us with the pounds there. So it means there's something going on. If you look up here, you see it's set to currency. So you can actually change the type of entry there by adjusting this, but let's leave it as currency for now. So it chooses the symbol and we can adjust the symbol. And as time goes on, we can see what we, how we want to change it. So we can adjust the symbol there as well. And we can adjust some format. But as soon as I'll just do Control Z and then Control Y. If you look in this particular cell or area, Control Z, Control Y, you notice that it changes, and also it changes to reflect the graph that we have there as well. So I'm going to go back to, I'll do attendance later, closer to the end. Go back to this side as well, enter some dates, 03, I don't know, 01, 20, I don't know, 2018, for example, 2028, that's too bad, 2018, for example. Of course, you can change the date format as well. I'm just going to drag and drop this as well. So we've got a sort of, it's in dates now, but we'll talk a little bit more. At the moment, I'm just playing with the template to see how things work. I'm just going to make this 03 as well. And I can change what is in here. So I'll pause here, let you have a go. And as soon as you finish, put done in the chat window. You're recording. Everybody who's attempted to answer, thank you very much. I think it was Pfizer and someone else. So if you go to File and you go to New from Template, it opens the Backstage view for you, okay? And from here, if you go to the Home, you've got more templates. If you are using the same version as I have, I'm using Manage My Money template. That's the template I'm using at the moment. So it's called Manage My Money, and or you can search for the templates here. I search for money and it pulls out the stuff related to budgets and other things. I think they are quite useful things like money in Excel. There's quite a lot. Cost analysis with Pareto chart. Blah, blah, blah. I like this. Let's see what it can do. I already have the other open anyway. Instructions, snapshots, transactions, categories. It's interesting stuff, but I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to the one we are working with. So at least it's a simplified or it's much, much simple. So you can play with that one. What is the keyboard shortcut for starting a new document?
I think Control M.
Control N for November. So I'll press Control N or Command N for a Mac, Mac computer, and that opens a new spreadsheet for me. So let's navigate around a little bit so we can see what is happening on the screen now, or what is what on the screen. I'm just zooming in, okay? I'm just zooming in. So if we look around, there are some things we see. We see this particular one, which is basically kind of shortcut stuff that has been inherited from previous stuff. We see the autosave there. So similar to the way that we turn on autosave, we can actually save to OneDrive, and also we can adjust how many times we want it to be saved. We've got a save button, and of course we can choose what we want in the quick access toolbar. All right, so we can choose what to show in there. Like at the moment, I can get rid of the home, I can bring it back. So we've got a home button there, not in the order that I like, but you can just manage it or move things around. Then we have the menu bar. So we've got various menus that we can choose from, similar page layout and other things that we can change or show. Automate is interesting. We can talk about that some other point. But we also have the tell me, which is like the search feature probably on your computer. That gives us access to things that we can adjust. Maybe, I don't know, we can get some quick access to things that we may forget where to find them. So pretty interesting. Some things I inherited makes it easy. We've got various groups and the various ribbons that we can work with. I've got some questions popping up. I'll answer them later. So if we go into the ribbons, we've got various groups that we can work with and things around like test wrapping and other things. If you ever inserted tables in Word, you would have come across these sort of things. And of course, we've got some themes and then that we can actually make use of as well. So just quick recap, but most of the time, most of the things we are seeing are quite similar to things we've seen before. Maybe the type of data in the cell, even though we've now talked about currency and then the date, this is not something that we have sort of really looked at yet. So we'll be looking at it in Excel. And also we've got things that have to do with data itself, like the AutoSum. You want to fill some things, you want to sort them. Things mostly like what we do with tables, and we've got analyze data. We've got some interesting things that we may use as well. So that is the top part of the workbook that we are working with. And I use the word workbook because we've got a workbook or worksheet, which is the whole work area, what we are doing, and the area that we start typing stuff on. But at the bottom, you notice that if this is a book, the book is made of various sheets or various pages. We've got the current worksheet. You see at the bottom left, you will see sheet 1. Can you confirm whether you can see it on your screen or not? Not the one from my side, your version. Can anybody see this? What is the current name? So you want to change this to be something meaningful. So let's say I can put in here to, I don't know, class performance or grades. So that is the name I'm giving to this particular sheet. And then the actual one, I can just add another worksheet, right? Or you can delete the additional worksheet. So to add another worksheet, you see the plus next to it. If I click it, and instead of class grades, maybe I'll just give it like class list. Give it any name that you want, but something to give the worksheet a meaning, right? So I'll give you a bit of time. As soon as you're done, you tell me to continue. Right. So we see some letters at the top, and even if I zoom all the way out, you notice these letters, of course, go on forever and ever. Not forever and ever, of course, but they go quite a lot. Then we have some letters at the top and some numbers on the left-hand side, right? So what these help us to do is to identify locations, and these locations are called cells, right? So each of these is a cell and they have a unique name or unique identifiers. So if I want to look at the first cell, it's actually A, the column name, and then 1. So as soon as if I do that, you see in there, you have the name of the cell appearing on there. You've got the cell name. And just next to the FX, we will have the content being written there. So if I say Michael, where this time I'm writing it at the top here, not in the cell directly. And I press enter, is put Michael in A1, okay? Maybe if I want to write in C, let's make it C2. See, it jumps to C2. If I want to jump to maybe G5, it jumps to G5. I can write whatever I want to write in there. And it completes it and enters it in that content for me. It looks as though it's extended to other cells, but honestly, if I click in the other cells, you notice that it's not in there. It's just sitting in here in this particular cell. Let me select it, which is just click there and do a text wrap, which we will actually look at later. Text wrap, it automatically fills it for us. But at the moment, we don't want that. We just automatically move it to the next line. We just want to get rid of this so we can go back to our first one. So what is the name of the current cell I have highlighted? Put it in the chat window.
D2.
D2.
Perfect. So I'm going to try and enter the content, but this time using different method, which is just select and just start typing. So Michael, John, and actually I want to move this down. So I'll select the 2, which is just click, drag and drop down, okay? And I'll just do Control X and paste it a bit further down. So at least I leave something at the top. So Michael, John, Jade, Ben, David. What other name? Forgotten all the names in the world. Patrick, Ariane, Evelyn. Sorry. Isa, just because it's there. When long list of names, and delete. So we've got a list of names that we have entered, and the range, if we select the first one, drag all the way down, we have selected about how many rows? We've got A2 to A12. That's the range of cells that we are using at the moment. And you notice each one I select, the content reflects there, and then the name is on the name of the cell is on the right. So let me put name, and maybe I'll just put assessment. Is that correct? Let me make it simple. Test 1, haha. Then test 2. Test 3. Then I'll put maybe total. I just realized maybe I need some additional thing in here. So I want to insert another column, another row, but on top of it right now. So I'll right click there and I'll go to insert, and then it will insert on the top for me. I'm going to give you a bit of time to populate your spreadsheet up to this point. And as soon as you're done, just put done in the chat window so I can continue. Yep, I'm just simply going to insert only one date. I'm not going to do too many days because it will get in the way. So actually, I'm not going, if you want to insert a column, you just click on the column just by clicking up there, it selects the whole thing. Right click and you can go insert and inserts a column there for you. So I'm just going to move, which is Control X and then Control V, move the total there. And I just want to say date of release. Just put any date in there because I just want the format. It doesn't make sense in this context, but it's okay. So at the top, I want to give it a title, maybe Excel scores. And yeah, in this form, it kind of looks okay, but I know my work stems from A to F. And in this particular case, I want all of them together. So I'm just going to select it, the cells that I want to merge. So I'm just going to select the range of cells and I'm just going to merge the cells, right? So if I go home, oh, don't hide it. You see merge on there. So you can just merge and center. So you can click merge and center or Control Z. If you right click, you should find an option for merge cells. If you find it before me, smart copy translating, that's an option for merge, which I can't see. Yep. Format, and in the format, there should be further options for merge, but let's go with the easy one. I'm not going to go through all these. Let's go with the easy one, which is simply merge cells, and we have it there. At the moment, I have merged these cells. I've not done any fancy formatting to it, which you can pick some templates and other things, but we just really want to make it bold. So I can click the B to make it bold, or I can just click Control B and then it makes it bold. Now, another question. From our experience with Word and PowerPoint, if I want to make this text bigger or smaller, what is the keyboard shortcut I use? I'll pause the recording, give you a chance to it. So yeah, resuming, basically just said Control Shift greater or less than. So well done to the person who contributed to it. And of course, we can format the text on there by adjusting the color or just changing the font type. So you've got a wide range of types to use. I normally just pick something random and looks interesting, and we can format the color. I don't know what color suits best, maybe blue. And if you want to fill it, then maybe you can just fill the text blue, and this doesn't go blue and that worse. So let's go for something, I don't know. Looks okay-ish to me, so we can just stick with that for now. And of course, you're more than welcome to use what fits best on your end. So if I pick this cell right now, or any of the cells, we want to change some placement on there. At the moment, we notice that it's on the center. It can go to the left, can become center, can go to the right. So I pick center. We can actually, in the vertical domain, align it as well. So we can align it to the middle of it, align it to the top. That's not the best one. So let's go align to the top, middle, or down. Let me see how we can actually make it. Let me make this cell bigger. Okay, so to make it bigger, or this range of columns, all right. So the rows, sorry. To make it bigger, I go all the way to the left. If I click here, we'll select, but I want to come down. I don't need to select it, right? I go there and drag and drop it down to make it bigger. So the cells are bigger in terms of the row size. So if I click 2 now, and then maybe I adjust to the left top, now you see it's a lot clearer. You see the alignment in the vertical domain instead of horizontally, which can also is on the right. So I can move it to the center, I can move it to the right. The same way I can bring it down, or I can move it to somewhere in the center, or I can move it to the top. So back to what it was before, and I'm just going to drag it up. Are we okay up to this point? And this to the center. Are we okay up to this point? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I want to maybe make the title center, I just want to select the whole thing, Control E or just make it center. I can also make it bold. So let me just pick a handful. So just select what we have there and I'll make it bold. I'll pause here. So at the moment, all we've done is enter some text. So it's in general format. If we go there, you see it's general. And then we've also entered some text at the top. Okay. We want to start entering some dates. I don't know why I chose these dates. Maybe let's call demo date or revival date. So date that we will invite them for a demo, right? So the date should be different. At the moment, I want to enter maybe Thursday, or let's go with Sunday to make it easier. Nobody works on Sunday, but let's go with Sunday. So demo day. And then maybe I'll add something. Just add one more date. I want to copy this, and again, I can use the format painter. And the same, I want to copy this across to the next cell. I can use the format painter. We are familiar with the format painter, but it just chose more than one cell for us. Let me do something. We'll talk more about this in a second. Goes all the way. I don't want that. I just want to select the last cell, and I'm just going to merge it with that one. And also, it's already merged, but let's go for merge and center. So that works for me. So I'll put Sunday there, and I'm going to enter another date, maybe, I don't know, 2nd of January. Any random date, 2022, for example, or 2023. Let's go for 22. Now, what I've done here is just started off with a date, started a day and started off with a date. We notice that if I do something, which is, I've selected it, you see the big plus sign. There's the plus sign, the cursor changing to a plus sign. If I move it around towards the green highlight, it turns into a hand. If I go all the way to the little tiny square at the bottom there, it turns into a tiny plus for me. So I want to drag from that the little square at the bottom right and drag it down. So if I do that, it auto completes for me. Let me bring it one more step up. It auto completes for me where it automatically moves from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way back up for me. So it's done something for me, made my life easier. I don't have to type the dates every single day. Same way I'm going to do for the other one. Drag and then drop. So you notice that it continues the dates for me. Let me just do Control Z to get rid of it. I'm going to enter another date in the second in row cell G4, where I'll enter the second, and I'm going to change the month, and I'm going to keep the year as well. Let's see if it will do this. Just random try. I'm going to try again for the second of the next month, and I'm going to keep the year as well. So at the moment, I want to select all that before I do the autocomplete. Before I do the autocomplete, to see instead of the previous one where it was changing every single day, it would change the month for me. And you notice it's kept the date. It managed to tell from the 3 cells that the pattern or what is changing in this pattern is actually just the month. So it changed only the month for me. If I were to do another one, which is maybe, let me copy this and paste it to the right, and then maybe change only the year. So start with 2001 or 2012. Do the same, and then that 2013. Actually, let's change the date as well. Then I'm going to do the same and put maybe 4th, keep the month the same, 2014. And I want to select all the tests there and then drag it down using the autocomplete. Right, so it started from 0203, found it's just the sequence that repeats, but at the same time, 2012, 2014. It's not very clean for this one, so I'm just going to undo that. I'll keep the dates the same because it was just repeating the same pattern, and I don't want that in this particular instance. So I'm just going to change this, and I'll keep the years different. Select them and get it to continue for me. So in this particular case, it changed the years. Quite like that. So I'll just zoom out. If you've not been working alongside with me, I'll give you a couple of seconds so to complete. And as soon as you complete, just say continue, and I'll continue. Resume the recording. And you notice something, right? If I click on H3, in here is set to date. The data type or data format is set to date. The same way, if I click here, it's set to date. If I click there, it's set to general. If I click there, set to general, the same. Let's find a date, go back to that date, or I can select the whole column, but the column has a mixture of some tests and other things. If I select the dates, I get a date. I can go to the little arrow next to it, right? If I click on the arrow next to it, then I can change what type of date is that. So we've got short date, can change to long date, which give me the actual day rather than this particular ones. Go back to short date, or I can go to more number formats. And in the dates, it gives me so many options that I can choose from. Not so many, but enough options. You can change, of course, the language and other things in there. I want to change to something, I don't know. But pretty much this is, these are the options for us. And even from here, you can do things with the font, alignment, and things that we can actually work on. So let me just undo and then cancel and then come back. So I want to just draw this back, which is just make sure it's turning to this little mark there, then draw it back. So we're going to enter some percentages or some numbers, or we can actually make it simple. Let's start with percentages. So let's say 3 tests. This one is maybe, I don't know, 20, and that's 60%, right? So let me just say 20%. 20%. And then this one is 60%. So let's say in this year, I don't want this to be like so long left there, so long then left there too. It doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't really fit into this cell. So I'm going to select those cells and I will choose the test wrap, which is just the test wrap. Then it goes underneath for me. Again, center. And if I want to make it clear, I can just drag and drop it down. So now it's in a format that is a lot easier for me to actually visualize because I can see the percentages there. So out of 20%, just because Michael is awesome, I'll give him 20, I'll give him 19, and then maybe the 60, Michael got out of 60, yeah, 62. Then give similar for other people. Sorry, John, if there's a John in the class, then also maybe John had 1, and then maybe 2. Jade, what is Jade getting? 5, 6, then 8. Fill in with some numbers, obviously less than the total. Or someone also got 20. Then Ariane, I'm going to give you 0. right? Just because you're awesome too. I'm gonna go 1, 2, and then maybe 44 is reasonable. I mean, that's not fair. Let's give you 55, right? And then maybe just
No,
one.
sir, don't take it back now.
Yeah, I'm just giving you one at least. That's fair. Faisal also get 1, 3, and then 5. Lynn, sorry, these are just random numbers, okay? Except Arians, which is deliberate. And 4, and then that. Then let's fill in for the others. Okay, so basically just some numbers that are filled in, and I can try something which may not necessarily be the best option. You can actually just select the group of numbers. You can make it a percentage if you want, but in this particular case, then I should have made it 0.2 and other things. Doesn't make sense in this case if I do that. But similar to the template that we started with, we want to make this a sum. Okay, so actually I can say total of the whole class, right? For the whole class, I just put that at the bottom there. It's not going to make sense, but we just say see, where we just simply want to sum up each score, what the sum of all the scores. Maybe we want to find the average score for the class. So I'm going to start with, let's push Control S and put it down. Total score, number of students. Put that there. I can test wrap this one so it goes to the bottom. Let me make it bold somehow. And we've got several different types of total. So first of all, we just want to find the total of all of this, total of the whole, total score for the whole class. So I can go to the top left, I can click the auto sum, and then it will sum automatically select the range for me. So B3, the B3 is there. Whoever wrote it, thank you. The B3 is there, which is this first one, and then all the way to B14. We don't need B14, so we need to do things slightly different. The column there is just showing the range, right? So you see the same, the formula there. And you notice there's an equal sign. The equal sign shows that we're about to put a formula. So at the moment, I want to select the range and then put it there, right? So if I press enter, it sums everything for me. Let's try to enter this differently. So if I straight away, I start typing equal sign, for a formula, it needs to be start with the equal sign. Then I type the sum and I press the open brace. It gives me the first number, second number. You can use comma. So Arian, it will be comma in what would you put in the chat window. It will be comma, and then or semicolon to give me the range, which was B3, sorry, not semicolon, colon. Then we find the range. And the last one was what? B13. Then close. If you don't even remember how to put the range, as soon as you open the brace, you can actually select the range yourself and then you press enter. Then it does the calculation for you, right? So now our next task is to count the number of entries there, so the number of students, for example. So I'm just going to say there's a count number if I click the little arrow there. So the count. Yeah. So you see count in there, it's automatically trying to pick this, guessing that's what we want to count, but that's not what we want to count. Our interest is to count from B3 to B13, and I'll press enter. So there are 11 entries, and if you look at it, 1 to 13 minus 2, so it takes us to 11 entries. And of course, average can be equal to this cell I'll open up, which will be the total B15, and I'm going to divide that by B16 to get a sense of the average. So this is the average that we sort of calculated manually. But if we go in there, we also have the average, and we can actually pick, of course, all of these and try to find the average, and we notice that they are the same. The average that we calculated straight from the range is exactly the same as the average we calculated just by finding the sum and dividing by it. Can I double check? Do you understand up to this point? But we've sort of left out, which is we just want to find the total score that maybe each student got, right, out of 100, right? So I'm going to put 100 in here. And of course, if I want to do format paint, I can just do that for format painting, and I can move the 100 to the next one. Right. So again, can someone guide me through how to do the formula for this one? Who wants chocolate?
Equals to.
So I put an equals to, and then we're looking for sum. Of course, if I don't know anything at all, I can put the bracket and I can select my range, right?
Yeah. B2 plus C2 plus D2.
Yep, or I can just say B3 to D3.
Okay.
Just selects the row for me. Now, if you put in a sum, we can, there was B3, comma, C3, comma, D3, not a plus, because you already have the sum there, right? Is that okay? Is that, did you get that? So you're not going to put a plus, it's just comma. So let me put the column and then that works, just an alternative. Now remember the autocomplete that we did for this. We can autocomplete with formulas too. So I'm just going to get the little plus at the bottom. Then I'm going to drag it down. And you notice that I sum each of them for me. So this one is what? 4 plus 4 plus 6, that's 14. 10 plus 4, 14. So it's giving me the total percentage for each student. Maybe I can, because that is special, maybe I can highlight it something else. What should I highlight? Orange. Yeah. So we have the total there. Are we okay up to this point?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say on the class list on the side, that is another it's another spreadsheet as well. We can of course copy things around and all those kind of things. We can also reference them. I'm just going to talk a little bit about referencing now, but what I'm going to do before I do that is just to use colors to split my screen. So let me just do something like that so we can have something on the side. What we intend to do at this point is just to create a copy of this particular cell range, maybe from A2 to H2. Okay, you can of course do copy and paste. So if I do copy and paste, I copy the name, I put it here, I paste the name. If I go back and change this to maybe cool names, we notice that J2 has not changed. It's still the same, right? So let's do some referencing. Just simply, we just want to make sure that this is an alias, like it contains, it's just another representation of the content that is there. So to do that, I just want to clean this first. I want to do the equal sign, and I want to say J2 is actually equal to A2, for example. So if I press enter, it's cool names. If I want to change it, I can just go and then just put names, and you notice that it changes to names. right? So at the moment, I've copied the formula across, and just as we use autocomplete to guess the next formula, I'm going to use the autocomplete to guess that I want the formulas to be referenced to all these, referencing to the others as well. So I'm just going to drag it from the bottom across. And because they are not clear, let me do some test wrap. Then we can actually see that this table and that table are quite the same. But of course, if I change this to 70, it will reflect in that particular cell as well. So it's a nice way of making references to something. So I change back to 60. Now, at the moment, I'm going to use it to also complete the same table all the way down. So let me go back. I'm just going to go down, and I'm going to go across. Doesn't go. So let's go there. No, I don't want all the way down to test table score. A bit too much, but yeah, and makes life easy for us. So we can just, let me select all of them and then go down. Of course, we don't need this. And the formatting, I just make this less bold. So within a short time, we've managed to duplicate the table, but not just duplicate it with a copy, it's referencing. And so if I can change, I can change David to David Johnson. It changes my David, where is that David, to David Johnson as well. So if I were to wrap the test or to increase it, you notice it's David Johnson on there. But let's go back and I can test wrap it. But I don't think there's the need to wrap it because it's a bit too much. Let's make it David J. Right, but the interesting thing is if I change this to Jonathan, it doesn't affect the source because obviously this is the original source and that's just now a simple test. It's not any form of related formula or anything. So let me go back and correct that. Can I double check with you? Do you understand up to this point? Are you okay? Do you remember the steps that I went through to use the software up to this point? Quick recap of it. Basically, if I use the equal sign and I'm just doing referencing, just basic referencing, and I just do equal to, so I want J, the content of J2 to be equal to what? A2. So I'm just picking the first one on there, right? Or I can just click it and that's it, okay? So I just want J2 to be equal to A2. So if I press enter, it means that whatever A2 is, J2 will be equal to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now you're okay with the autocomplete. It's the same stuff you did for this side, right?
Yeah. No
Which
problem.
is if you hover your cursor around and you go to the little square thing at the bottom and it changes to this cross, right? You can drag and drop it and copy the formula across. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Now from that point, because it's copied, first one was JA2, B2, all the way to what? F2. If we continue, it's just going to continue for us to the next one, which is G2. Does that make sense? Because it's assuming that if you copy this, then you just want to go to the next cell, next cell, next cell. You're okay with that up to this point?
Yeah.
So I want to copy all of them. So it will assume that I want to also copy each row as I go to the next one. Does that make sense up to this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get rid of this date even though it's not copied properly. And then I don't like the formatting, so I'm just simply going to take the formatting and I'm just take it from bold because it just assumed that I'm also wanted to copy the bold formula across as well.
Well, I want to ask if you make changes to the duplication, it will not affect the original, right?
No, which is what we demonstrated. So let's change name to you asked, for example. The name has changed because here it's not a formula anymore. The original is not a formula pointing to the copy, right?
Yeah.
But if I undo, for example, and have this copy pointing to the original, it's simply saying this content is the same as that content. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try this to change this to A3. Even though that has changed to this, the others remain the same. Okay?
Yeah.
Is it much clearer now?
Yeah, it's clear now. And if I should like double check with you, the red slide is just for it to be marketed to, right?
Yeah, I just put it there. I just highlighted, made it red by just simply clicking the top, then choosing the red. So at least you see that I'm doing something different at that point.
Okay.
We're just winging it with that color stuff. Right. Okay. Are we okay up to this point? Are we okay up to this
Yes.
point? Okay,
Yes.
that's good. So at the moment, right, if I want to try something, I want to put for this here, for this column, I want to do some form of multiplication going on. Let's say I want to divide each of these score by 2. Add it to the next one, add it to the next one, and then maybe, I don't know, find the total. So let's do some, I don't know, some random calculations. So let's say I can say equal to, the cell name is K3 divided by 2. I can, of course, put it as 1 plus, what's the name of the next cell? L. The cell on the right of K3 is what? Anybody awake? What's the name of this particular cell here?
L3.
L3. And divided by 2. And then I'll do an addition. And then maybe, what was the last one? M3.
M3.
Divided by 2. Not the fanciest sort of things, but we've done some addition and then it's gone on. Okay. So it's done that for us. If I do the autocomplete and drag it down, it's auto-completed the formula for us, but let's see what is done. The same way we transferred everything to this point, it's automatically assumed that even though my first one was K3, L3, M3, it's automatically assumed that the next one should go to the next row, next set of rows, next set of rows. What if I just really want to make it absolute? I don't want it to, I don't want it to move to the next cell, for example. Just do format painting. Oh. Copy, just went the other way. Doesn't matter. Let's stick with that. Copy all the, so what if I just want to say each of them keep the K and then also keep the 3, right? So the formula will change for the others, but I want K3 to be kept exactly the same. So let me copy this formula and then paste it here. So let's try something. Keep K, put $1, and then keep which is the column, then keep the row, put $1, and then press enter. Again, we see 45, but I'm going to do autocomplete. Thanks, Diana, for your comments. Right on point. Yeah. So I'm going to do autocomplete and see if the results will be the same. It's the same formula, but with some $ signs kept in between. So I'll go all the way down And then I check, the numbers are not the same for the others. Maybe for this it's the same. I don't know how that happens, but let's see. If I go to the next one, look at the content, you notice K3 is kept, it's moved to L4, and then M2 is moved to the next line for the others. Then I go here, the same K3 is kept. If I go here, K3 is kept again, all the way down, K3 is kept. So I want you to try this, and in the next column, you will try to keep, that's not what I want to do. Let me go into the actual content. Let me go into this content, copy it here so I have the formula. And in here, you would like to keep L3 absolute throughout the references. So you only change M3. Okay, so that's a little bit of job for you. Give it a go. Work up onto this point. Let's see how it goes. And if you are happy, I'll be a happy man as well. You actually realize we've covered quite a lot. Actually, we've done some calculations. We've done some referencing on there. We've done both absolute referencing, and then we've got traditional way of referencing on there. Just basically referencing by value, and we just done some editing stuff, inserting text, inserting columns, format painting, changing text formats, wrapping text, text alignments, quite a lot of different things. And of course, you can do things like page layouts, orientation, and other things. You can select different colors and different color themes. Let me just select this one. People said they've done this, so let's just fix this. We've done autocomplete. And I believe that's fixed too. So those two are fixed for us, making text bold or not. Let's go with format. Format them, conditional format and things, icon highlights. Format as table, let's add this. Maybe you can just choose some of the basic tables, or you can choose new style if you want. I don't know which ones. Can somebody say which one? If I should stop. No. Let's go with something basic. Oh, nice. It's hard to make a decision on these ones.
Medium blue.
Someone said blue right on top. So we can just auto format these sort of things. And of course, we've got print layout views and other views at the bottom that you can do. You've got to zoom and other things. Most of the things are inherited, like in terms of names, inherited from stuff that we did in Excel. And we did in Word and the other ones as well. So let's see, maybe we can insert some fancy graphs as well, but not really sure. So insert, I'm just simply click on insert, and I'm going to graphs as well. So let's get a bar graph, something, or probably scatter would be better, but let's go for bar graph. So charts, recommended charts. Let's see, it gives us some suggestions that we can use. Makes life easy for us, but let me go with bar graph or scatter. Scatter may work. So I'll go with scatter, then go with this one. I think that would be really close because we're dealing with these sort of numbers, right? Like I said, it was going to be really close. And in here, you can, of course, give it a name if you want, or you can even change or do some editing, change the legends, how it looks like, and other things. But let me get rid of this and put the recommended graph. So insert, and I want to go for maybe bar. So let me enlarge it. So we've got for each student, we've got the test being compared against each other, but obviously the last one will be bigger. If you're dealing with real other proper data, it will be a bit more different, isn't it? So scores in percentages. We could have just made life simple for ourselves by simply choosing each student and the total they got. I think that's better. So I choose each student and the total they got. I'm going to delete the others from the graph. So let me delete this one. Oh, deleted the whole thing. So let me just make it simple. I'll just select this, hold down Control, and then select the total too. And I'm going to go to Insert, and then I'll just pick the bar graph, for example. So I've got each student and then the score that they got. So straight away, I can tell maybe Michael got a high score. That's cool. Let me just do some cleanup on here. So I'm just going to quick layout. Actually, let's add elements. So I just click next to the little icon there, the axis. I want to add axis title for the Y and X axis. So primary, horizontal, that will give the x-axis, and then I want to add again, then I'm going to add primary vertical. So within the primary horizontal, just select it, and then maybe I'll just say student name, and I'm going to give it grade in percentage. All right, and on here, I want to delete this one. So at least because we've got each student name and other things, and of course you can give it a title later on if you insert it into a document. So at this point, I want to press Control S to save so I don't lose the work that I've done. So student score. And I just want to do some editing as well. So these are the macro lines. Of course, you can add the minor lines. I want to delete the macro lines because it doesn't make it look good in my or from my point of view at this particular moment. But I want to do some formatting. So if I pick this as is here, maybe if I can just make it the line a bit solid black. I see a hand up. Please ask your question. And I'll select the x-axis and make it solid black as well. Ask. Sorry.
How do you select the name in the total, like the shortcut key you used?
Okay, so basically, sorry, undo this. I'll just move this around. So basically, I just selected that column. So from names all the way down and drag it down. So now I selected that, but hold on Control if you're using a Windows computer or Command if you're using Mac. And then you go to the other category and drag it down. Then you can go to Insert and then you choose the graph.
Okay.
Okay, good. So let's go back to the graph and a bit of editing there. So I select the whole work area now. And again, I want to select the solid line black. So it's a bit cleaner now. There are some things I can do with the data itself. If I select the data, I can right click and I can just say add data labels. So it shows the actual numbers in terms of their percentages and the graph. It's open this in on the side for me, which I can play with. So the gaps are a bit too wide, so I want to reduce the gaps. So they become a bit closer to each other. A little bit gap is okay, maybe not too much. And at the same time, we can actually overlap the series if we want. So if we just do no gaps, you notice they sort of overlap more. But anyway, let me just reduce it. At the moment, we are in luck with the data. Let's say if you have more than one data and want to differentiate them, of course, there are sometimes you can choose different themes and other things, but you can also change the color of these bars, for example. So let's change maybe solid color. We can choose not the borders. Let me just make the borders automatic. The fill. So I want to select fill. So I select the fill and you can choose solid color. You can make it maybe black, obvious. So maybe I should have, after this, we just do a quick one with another graph to see how it works. or I can just go back to the blue, which it was there, or something primary, something strong that we can see. Or you can use gradient fill, for example. So you choose the different colors that fill. So you've got a bit of red. I don't know, you can have the change the direction. You can change the color of the fill. I don't know, a bit of black. You can just do some various fancy things with it. So that's one option. Or you can choose a picture to fill it. If you have, I don't know, maybe I have some pictures on my desktop that I can work with. So insert desktop to have a picture of myself. Let's go for that. Definitely not. But then at least that's something interesting as well. Let's make it stack. Definitely don't want that one. Stack kind of work, right? So I don't know, happy level. This is a bit of too much of me. Let me find something online, right? And then just use it. Just give me 2 seconds. Let's use an emoji or what emoji? What do you somebody give me ideas? Huh?
Stock images.
Sorry?
Stock images.
Stock.
Yeah. Images.
Yeah, but what image should I use?
Maybe this.
Some looks like something is coming up in 2 seconds. Let's see how it goes. I'm just really just simply gone online to pick up something. I think we are in Excel. Excel. So let's insert an image and we go to Excel if anybody can. So in Excel, I've just copied some. Oh, it's a web stuff. Save image as, please save it as image for me, right? It's still the same. Just bear with me. That's a shame. Save as picture, and I don't want any of these desktop, and we can find something to save there. Then I can delete this. So go back to it. Fill, we're looking for pictures. Let's insert. Hopefully the one that I picked will work a lot better than mine, right? Okay, so you get some really interesting fancy stuff. Now, I think now we definitely need a border. So let's pick the border, and the border, let's pick a solid fill. I think a black border will do. An interesting thing. So if you have a graph with, let's say you've collected data with people's feedback and you want to show how happy they are, you can fill them with emojis and other things. I think I'm happy with this graph now. If we want the whole graph not to have any border, you just pick no border. So if I was working on a Word document, let me choose Word, open Word, if it will open for me. And if I were working on a document and I'm trying to insert my graph, this is how my graph looks like now. And of course, you can, from here, right click just as I did before, and you can save it as a picture. Save the whole thing as a picture in the, say, graph. Or basically right click the other options. I think save a picture, you get different options to choose from as well. And it doesn't work, you can just go back to modify it. Or what I just did, Control C, Control V on there, or basically Control C, go back into Word. And instead of just simply pasting it, you just go as paste as, or basically just either keep source formatting and other things. You know, sometimes people can actually change the content in here in Word as well. But if we don't want that, we just really want it to be pasted as an object, you can just change different things. Save as picture, keep source formatting, and all those kind of things are there. I prefer one thing which I don't think is there anymore. That was enhanced meta image, but of course you can save it as PNG and other stuff. So let's go with PNG, not PDF. And that's also saved. Obviously, you can see the difference in quality straight away. Right, I get rid of this. go back in there, and I think we are at a point where we can say we can confidently pause at this point. The rest, formulas, everything that we've touched on quite a lot of things in one session. So I'll pause here and stop the recording.